Nico Hines, what do you think of work events?
Well, the clip you just played there, what was cut off was Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party's response, which was, so the Prime Minister's telling us he doesn't know when he's at a party. And I think, the idea that he's saying something with an apparently straight face that every single person listening knows is not true is just incredibly damaging. Whatever you think about
Is
his
it
policies or,
damaging, Nico? Is it
Brexit
really
or
damaging? I mean, he's always been what they call in where you are a chancer.
Yeah, I think, people in Britain have a certain respect for a scallywag, a chancer, someone who's going to not play by the rules, and especially if they're thumbing their nose at kind of the authority figures, or, someone like Robin Hood is a sort of romantic outlaw and somebody that's cherished by the British public. And Boris Johnson skirted that line, and a lot of people respected the fact that he, didn't stand for, say, Brussels bureaucrats or the establishment rules that said you couldn't do certain things within politics, and people liked his cheeky side. But what they're finding now is that he's laughing at them. And nobody likes to be laughed at in their face. Nobody likes to be lied to in the face. And the latest opinion polls suggest that 8% of people in Britain believe what he's saying about the parties, and only 9% think it's acceptable that they were holding these parties. So he's really got himself on the wrong side of the argument this time.
Dave Clark?
What's been interesting to me in the past few days, obviously, nobody's very surprised about who Boris Johnson is anymore. But it's been interesting later in the week is the kind of direction that the stories are coming from. Now, the initial revelations obviously came from largely from opposition-oriented newspapers. The Daily Mirror took the lead on this, and then the rest of the media followed in quite quickly. The last three revelations of parties, if we count the two parties that became one as everyone got drunker and wandered out in the garden with a suitcase full of wine to trash the kids' swings and so forth. The one on the eve of the Prince Philip's funeral, the communications director who was leaving that night and whose party it was went on to become the deputy editor of the Sun newspaper. And the Sun newspaper obviously knew about all these parties because their deputy editor attended them, and they hadn't been reporting them with the same enthusiasm as some of their colleagues. The last three stories that came out from the Daily Telegraph, which is the newspaper that Boris Johnson himself used to work for, and that he flew back from the COP summit in Glasgow to attend a drinks party with its editors. He's still very much aligned with the Daily Telegraph. I assume that's where he'll go back to when his time in office is eventually over. But so something has changed. Every time a new outrage comes out, it's always tempting to think, "Oh, this is what undermines him." But and up to now, he has always survived everything that's come his way. I think something has changed in the past few days, that the British elite senses that there's blood in the water, and it's time for someone new. Although the mechanism to get rid of him will be quite complex, and I think it probably makes sense for the Tories to keep him in office at least until they get a battering in the May local elections.